Mount Vernon Elementary School will present second grade to seniors pen pal writing project. Several years ago, second grade teacher Miss Diane Bahr wanted to find a way to make writing meaningful for her students and connect them with an outside audience in the process. She had the idea to start a pen pal writing project with some of our senior community members. Mrs. Mary Lugo, principal from Mount Vernon Elementary School, will now introduce tonight's presenters. Ms. Lugo.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, Dr. George, Dr. Shandor, and members of the board. We are honored to be with you this evening to present our pen pal writing project. Our literacy model highlights writing and more specifically allowing opportunities for our students to connect with writing in an authentic manner daily. As you heard in the opening, this is a project that not only taps into the academic accomplishments of our students, but it builds a stronger community bond as well. Our students now have an opportunity to connect with some of the more revered members of the senior community. At this time, I would like to introduce Mrs. Diane Bahr, our second grade teacher. Her vision led to a phone call to the Chesapeake retirement community in October of 2014. That phone call would change the lives of many people.
Good evening. With the implementation of transformative learning came the reminder that we need to give our students a purpose and an audience for their work. I began to think about the ways my students could learn in the classroom as well as in the larger community. It was then that I had a thought. I realized that unintentionally, our students are not given the opportunities to connect with our elders and learn that they are not that much different than them after all. In addition, I also felt it would be important for the students to discover that these older Americans have made many important contributions to their communities. I decided to call the Chesapeake retirement community. I was immediately put in touch with the Director of Programs and Resident Services, Miss Susan LaFrance. She was enthusiastic about the idea, and we began working together to make our idea come to life. This evening, I have 5 students who participated in the program with me last year. They will be telling you more about our project.
Good evening. My name is Emily Stahl, and I was in Miss Bahr's second grade classroom last year. I will be telling you about the first step in becoming a pen pal. Miss Bahr talked to us about the project and told us that we would be getting to know a member of the senior community. At first, we didn't completely understand, but then Miss Bahr explained that we would be writing letters, sending cards, and getting to know someone like our grandparents. She told us that we would have a chance to meet a lady named Miss LaFrance. She would be coming to our classroom to answer all of our questions about becoming pen pals with her residents. Before Miss LaFrance came to see us, we had to think of questions we wanted to ask her. When she came to visit, we got to interview her. We found out that the residents of the Chesapeake like to dance, read, and make arts and crafts. They sound a lot like us. Once Miss LaFrance showed us pictures and answered our questions, we were ready to get to the writing. I would like to introduce to you my friend Jack. He will be telling you about our letters.
Hello, my name is Jack Halsnick, and I was a student in Miss Bahr's class last year. We were able to write letters to our pals every month throughout the year. Sometimes we wrote letters and told them about what we were doing in school or what sports we played. Sometimes we made them Christmas cards or cards that made them smile. We liked to ask them lots of questions too. The best part was the day we received letters from our pals. We were excited, and Miss Bahr would let us sit on the carpet and read our letters. Here are some examples of the letters we received. Now my friend Cristian will tell me a bit more.
Hi, my name is Cristian Casey, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how we prepare to meet our pen pals in person. Sometimes when We talk to our friends. We don't speak clearly and slowly enough to be understood. We had to practice our speaking and practice how to have a conversation with alternating questions and answers. Miss Bahr and Miss LaFrance told us about the residents and what we could expect on the day of our visit. It was nice of them to explain that to us so that we were prepared. Now my friend Sara will talk to you about the day we met our pals.
Good evening. My name is Sara Gage, and I will get to share the most exciting part with you. On the day we met our pals, we rode on a bus to the Chesapeake Retirement Community. All of our pals were waiting in the community room for us. They were smiling and happy to see us, and we were happy to see them too. We weren't nervous at all about meeting them because we already had become friends through our letters. Over the years, the students and the residents have had wonderful conversations at the meeting. In fact, one time a student found out that his pal had the same birthday that he did. That was amazing. We were sad when we had to leave because we enjoyed being with them so much. But some of the relationships didn't end that day. I still write letters and cards to my pal, Miss Karen, and she sends cards and fun stuff to me.
Good evening. I'm happy to be here this evening and share in the excitement of recognizing a program which has enriched the lives of both residents and students from our community. This meeting just happened to coincide with the Chesapeake's Resident Christmas Program, in which 30 of our residents present a choral and chime program to the rest of our 300 residents that live at the Chesapeake. So most of the pen pals could not be here this evening. But I am lucky to have a dedicated resident with me tonight who has participated in the Pen Pal program for all 3 years, Rickie LaBombard, who will say a few words as well. Many people believe that growing older means becoming lonely and isolated and irrelevant. But what most people don't realize is that a very small part of what it means to age. Many seniors find peace and contentment as they age. They have more time to devote to friends, families, and hobbies, and they are free to pursue their life's passions. Often after they retire, seniors become vibrant and engaged citizens with a lifetime of experience and knowledge to share. Through the Pen Pal program with Mount Vernon Elementary School, residents at the Chesapeake have been able to forge real and lasting connections with some of the youngest members of our community. Through sharing parts of their lives and stories, they have helped bridge the gap between generations and improve the students' social and writing skills. But besides what the residents of the Chesapeake contribute, what they have received has been far greater. Learning about and being connected to these young students have inspired and invigorated them. They feel a part of the students' lives, the community, and the larger world. And for seniors who can become isolated or irrelevant, that connection is priceless.
Hello, my name is Rickie LaBombard. I have been a resident of Newport News for 25 years. I have been a resident of the Chesapeake community, retirement community, for 5 years. And 3 years ago, when Miss LaFrance mentioned the Pen Pal Club, I was immediate. I jumped on the bandwagon. I was all for it. Because 70 years ago, many years ago, I had a pen pal. So I was familiar with what pen pals did. At that time, way back then, there was a magazine, a children's activity magazine called Playmate. I was going to say maybe some of you remember that. I don't know. But I sent my name and address to the Playmate magazine, and they sent me the name and address of a girl in Wyoming. And she and I exchanged letters for probably 10 years. I don't have contact with her now. but I have such warm memories of waiting for the postman to come every day to see if I had a letter from my pen pal, and then sitting down and writing to her. So that was a really valuable experience in my life. I have 3 grown sons. I have 1 grandchild and 1 recently, a great-grandchild. I mention that because I've had a lifelong love of children. 50 years ago, 50 years ago, I was a 2nd grade teacher in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I just feel like this program was made for me. As Susan said, we have such a variety of experiences at the Chesapeake. When I came there 5 years ago, a doctor said to me, "Why would you go to a place like that?" Because he thought I was too young for that. You know, people have this idea that a nursing home is you go there to sit around and die. But we have, you mention it, we have it. We have bridge clubs, we have bingo, we have polo, we have an indoor swimming pool, we have, you name it, we've got it. And so we enjoy sharing this with the children because then, of course, the children go home and talk to their parents. So we're learning from them and they're learning from us. The program is beneficial to both the children and to us, and I love having contact with the children because my sons live in Vermont, Texas, and Pennsylvania. My great-grandson and grandson live in Pennsylvania, so I don't have children around me, so I just love to have this contact. And in closing, I want to tell you a little bit about my pen pal this year. As I say, this is my 3rd year. I met him last week, and in his first letter, he asked me, "What is your favorite pet?" He said, "My favorite pet is a Komodo dragon." And so I said to him, "Well, my favorite pet is a cat. I don't have a cat, but some of the residents in the Chesapeake do have cats." And then in his second letter, I just got his second letter last week, he asked me what was my favorite game. He said, "My favorite game is backgammon." Well, guess what? My favorite game is backgammon. I spend hours playing backgammon because now I'm retired, so I have all the time I want for backgammon. So it's just so much fun. And then one last thing, I could see such an improvement between his first letter and his second letter. I could see an improvement in his writing, in the way he made his letters, and I could see a big difference in the way he formed his paragraphs and wrote to me. This is just a fantastic program. So I would urge you to give due consideration to this program. It's wonderful. Thank you.
The children with us this evening were in my class last year, and they were able to participate in a full year of the project. But at this time, I would like to show you a brief video of the students in my class this year and some of the students and residents that we met recently.
I was reading my card, and my pen pal's name is Joan, and I'm writing to her, and this is what she looks like, and we are doing this to know our elders better.
We are going. I'm writing a letter for my pen pal, and I'm answering the questions she sent me in the card.
This is the 3rd year I've been involved with the Pen Pal program, which I find absolutely delightful. It's wonderful to connect with young children, especially because where I live at the Chesapeake, I'm surrounded by what I fondly call wrinklies. We all are. And it's fun to hear from a 7-year-old I've been so impressed with how well they write. And I really applaud Mrs. Bahr for doing this. It takes a lot of effort on her part. I'm so grateful that she does this.
As you can see, it is evident how much of an impact this project has had on all involved. I knew from the beginning that it would be a wonderful experience, but it wasn't until the day that we all met that I was able to see the full impact of the relationships that had been created through writing. Everyone felt special that day.
Before we go, we would like to give our pen pals a token of appreciation. Your letters have been a gift to us, and we would like to give you a gift tonight. Members of the school board, we would also like to give you a gift, one of our bookmarks, so that you can remember our program and remind you that you always have a pen pal at Mount Vernon Elementary. Thank you again for inviting us to speak this evening, and we wish you a happy holiday. We will now be happy to answer any questions that you have about our project.
I have a question. Are we ready for questions?
They're absolutely ready for questions.
Well, I'm wondering how often you do this. How many years has this been, Diane? 3 years? And when do you start the process? Is it right at the beginning of the year?
We began right in September.
Yeah. My mom is over at the Chesapeake, and I would love for somebody to adopt her somehow. She loves it over there, no doubt, but this would be a really neat experience. But I just think this is wonderful. And especially since I'm more familiar with the community over there, I just think.
Who's your mom?
Joanne George.
Oh, all right.
She's singing in the cantata.
Yeah, she's in the choir tonight.
Yeah, she is. But I just think what a neat thing, especially knowing the community. I can see how that is such a blessing for those folks over there. So thank you, kids. That's wonderful. Keep on.
Oh, it's fantastic. I truly thank you for doing this, and it's such an idea that you probably thought, what to do, and it's a perfect one to do, and to get both sides, both the young and the seniors together. Fantastic. Kudos.
This really warms my heart, especially this time of year, to see the generations communicating and developing a bond that I'm sure will go beyond this grade. Thank you guys so much for doing this. It reminds me when I was a teenager, I participated in an adopt-a-grandparent program at a community home. And it brings back some wonderful memories, and it just really warms my heart.
Wow was the first thing as the presentation was moving forward, because I didn't know how what this was all about. And as you explained it, I'm sitting here going, good gracious. We as a school board, we hear presentations and we hear about community projects. We hear about our students, engaging the community. But then something like yours comes before us and we sit there and we go, good gracious. I mean, this could be just duplicated school to school through all across the country, because like everyone else has said, it's that connection. The children walk away with a sense of just something they would have not received reading a book, or just in that classroom doing a writing project like we all used to way back in the day. But the benefit of the Chesapeake and what you and I'm thinking we need to get a contract for the lady there. If she's still got a licensure, we might want to bring her on board. Sometimes we need second grade teachers, and teachers in general. But
bring her out of retirement.
Bring her out of retirement. We can probably do that with an action item, but this evening. But still, to hear her go into seeing the improvement, the writing, the paragraph structure. I mean, to have that presented to us
from an outside party looking in, and that means the world of what we're doing right. And thank you to the teacher and the staff at Mount Vernon for such a thing. I mean, it's great.
And I would have to echo the sentiments of what the board have said already, and that's what really impressed me the most. The kids are mastering a skill that they need to do in second grade, but they're having fun, and they like doing it, and that's the type of teacher you want to have, and she's a great teacher. So thank you.
Can I add one more thing to this? You know, in the age of high tech, we tend to do a text and the abbreviations, you think, you know, what's that word? And the art of writing never goes away, and that's the part I take away tonight. It's always nice to have a handwritten letter.
Really is.
Our residents did have to learn how to print, though.
Instead of cursive.
Interesting, okay. Okay.
And boys and girls, thank you very much for the Christmas card.
Yes,
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 thank
thank
you.
you.
These are
Very nice.
beautiful.